Evidence of evolution. Theory of evolution. The theory of evolution is that life on Earth has developed gradually from a few simple organisms to many complex organisms. It is the development of a group of related organisms towards completed adaptation to the environmental conditions to which they have been exposed with the passage of time. Vestigial structures are bodily parts that at one time were functional, but have lost their usefulness and are non-functional. An example would be the dew claw on a canine. The dew claw is a vestige of the thumb on the forefoot of the dog. Ancestral dogs have 5 toes on each foot, each of which contact the ground. As they evolved, though, dogs became toe walkers with only 4 digits on the ground, and the thumbs and the big toes were either lost or reduced to their present state. Homologous bone structure is a similarity of position, proportion, structure, etc. that appear in different groups of organisms. The overall function and shapes, however, may change slightly from group to group. The human arm and hand is similar to or has homologous bones with the arms and front limbs of several animals. In this lesson, you'll be asked to compare the human arm and the bones in the human arm to those of other animals. You'll first start with a comparison by coloring in the phalanges, the metacarpals, the carpals, the ulna, the radius, and the humerus on the human arm. You'll then go to the arms of other animals, such as the chicken, the bat, the dolphin, and the horse, and try to identify in each of these animals where the phalanges would be. Color them in: metacarpals, carpals, ulna, radius, and humerus. Now in this exercise, you will not be graded too harshly, but you will be expected to at least attempt the assignment and show a reasonable attempt at completing the assignment. You may not get the phalanges or the metacarpals exactly right in each of these animals, but you should get pretty close in representation. In the next part of the assignment, after doing all this, you're going to be asked to summarize the differences between the human arm and each individual animal's limb and wing. Then present an explanation or reason for this modification. For example, if you look at the bats and look at their phalanges, they're quite a bit longer than the phalanges of a human. That's one modification that you might point out. You also need to give an explanation or reason for this modification. Well, in this, you would think of a bat and a bat's wing. A bat's wing is primarily a membrane of skin. Well, something needs to support that. These are the phalanges, and probably the reason for their extension or length is to support that membrane. Now, for each of these animals, you should be able to draw on your own knowledge and experience. You've either seen these animals in person, or seen them in images, or seen them in videos. So you've seen how each of these animals move. You have a reasonable understanding of where these animals live and whether or not they fly or run or walk or swim. And based off that information, you should be able to come up with a reasonable explanation for the modifications, drawing from your own experience. Also, in explanation of these reasons, you will be required to provide adequate or extensive explanations. A simple sentence would not be sufficient. Each of these animals, there's a lot of modifications, and you should be providing a lot of different explanations for the various modifications. A sentence or two will not be adequate. Each of these, at minimum, should have a paragraph of explanation to accompany them in the assignment. One last definition that comes up and will be needed for the latter half of the assignment is the term analogous structures. Analogous structures are structures that serve the same function but are quite dissimilar in both structure and development. So this completes the introduction to this assignment.